In today's video, I want to share with you the top 5 habits that I personally believe have most contributed to the success that I've created for myself here online. Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin, and this channel is all about personal development for female entrepreneurs. And I've created quite a few videos on habits, specifically habits for success, habits for wellness, habits for mindset. But I was sitting down and personally reflecting on my own journey and how I've been able to build this multiple six-figure business and this massive online community. And I really started to think about what particular habits do I think are the pinnacle ones that have contributed to this success that I've gained. And I really wanted to just create a video and share with you what those habits are and how they've helped me to achieve my success, so that hopefully you can take something from this video, whether it's identifying what habits are not serving you or realizing some of the areas that may help you get closer to your goals. Developing habits is really so much more about who you become rather than what you do. I think when we look to habits, we're thinking about, I need to wake up at 5 a.m. every single day. And it's not those specific little details that are really going to contribute to your success so much as who you become in the process. I'm someone who's more productive because I wake up at 5 a.m. Or I'm someone who just gets more stuff done in the day because I wake up at 5 a.m. The 5 a.m. part of it is almost arbitrary. It's just the person that you become because of the things that you do. So I specifically wanted to share with you some of these habits. Some a little more practical, some a little more mindset based, but really these are the things that have contributed to my success. So if you did enjoy the video, I would very much appreciate it if you gave it a big thumbs up. And of course, if you are new around here, welcome. I would so love for you to join the family if you love videos on how to create success for yourself and live your best life. So the first habit that I wanted to share with you is all about learning. Learning is such an important part of personal development and growth. Particularly if you're trying to start an online business, you are going to have to learn things, and you're gonna get to your goals so much faster if you commit to learning from people who've done it before. But the thing is, the habit that I've really developed around learning is self-acceptance. I cannot believe how much more I progressed in my business when I stopped feeling like I had to learn the same way that everybody else does. I'm just gonna go out and say it. I hate reading books. I have tried to pressure myself to read books for the past God knows how many years, and every single time I do, I hate the experience. I even mentioned here once on my channel that I'm an incredibly slow reader, and I just kept trying to force myself to read books. When I changed my habit around reading to actually listening to books, or to learning from YouTube videos, which is my favorite style of learning, or to listening to podcasts, or to working with coaches, I progressed so much more in the learning category. I tried to commit to, say, learning a new topic from a book, and then I'd feel really disappointed when I wasn't progressing in that area because I actually just hated the process of reading books. I even tried to learn about speed reading, and I still hated the process. I just really don't enjoy reading that much. And so when I actually became a little bit more self-aware about what I enjoy, how I learn, and how I consume information the best, I was able to progress so much more with my learning. So learning is an important part. That's kind of a habit within a habit here. But really, when it comes to learning, figure out your learning style, figure out the way that you consume information and retain information the best, and actually just commit to doing it that way. Stop feeling like just because it's more Instagram worthy to post a picture of a book than it is, say, an audio book, that's the route you have to go down. Everyone learns in different ways. You've got to figure out which one's right for you. And really the next habit, which is not something that I've always had, is self-discipline, particularly in the areas of time management. I've created a lot of videos here on how I organize my calendar, but I just want to tell you a story that there was once a time where I was so disorganized. Literally, didn't really have many responsibilities to be organized about, but I used to be someone who would always put things off to the very last minute. And I would always be stressing about all of the things that I had to get done: uni, work, going out and partying, because top priorities and all when you're 22. I was always overwhelmed by all of the things that I had to do, and yet these days I'm doing even more, but I feel way less overwhelmed and seem to have so much more time. And that is simply because I just became so disciplined to sticking to what was on my calendar. I know a lot of people out there, you may be one of them, who's incredibly organized and you have no problem with actually setting up your calendar. Where the issue actually lies is actually sticking to what's on that calendar. I mean, this could be a whole nother video in and of itself, how to actually do what you say you're going to do, because there's a lot of mindset work behind that stuff. But one of the habits that I developed is, how about I stop stressing about what I need to spend my time on, just organize myself, and then just commit to sticking to the task that's on that calendar. I allow myself to be flexible, of course. You know, some tasks take longer, some things get canceled, but for the most part, if I'm launching a new program, still wanting to have a social life, catching up with my friends, doing my hobbies, maintaining my health, maintaining my relationship, and then I'm also managing the rest of my business in the process, that sounds like a lot of stuff, but really, that's my week this week, and I don't feel overwhelmed and stressed at all. You know why? Because I just sat down on Sunday night, I organized what I've got to do, and I just stick to it. So having enough self-discipline to not only just be a great planner, but be a great action taker and take action on what you've actually planned. The next habit that I would really say is probably more on the mindset side of things, but this is so incredibly powerful because I believe as a successful entrepreneur, one thing that you really need is, I guess, a more optimistic risk assessment process. And what I mean by that is, whenever I'm going to do something new, I've decided that I'm going to change my what ifs from a negative to a positive. A lot of people, when they start thinking about doing something new, investing in a coach, launching a new program, starting a podcast, hosting a live event, collaborating, reaching out to the media, you know, things that are gonna really move the needle in your business, straight away what a lot of people do is they start thinking about the worst case scenario. Did I just do air quotes and not actually quote them? Did I just do bunny ears? But anyway, what a lot of people do is they start thinking about the worst case scenario. What if I get rejected? What if I launch a program and nobody buys it? What if I host an event and nobody shows up? I mean, these are all absolute natural fears, and I'm not saying that they're not going to come up, but what you want to actually start doing is try to reframe those into a more positive, optimistic view. You know, if I'm gonna start a new program or something, of course my natural human instinct is gonna be like, no one's gonna buy this, imposter syndrome, imposter syndrome, imposter syndrome. But what I actually do is be intelligent enough to sit down with myself and say, okay, that's the worst case scenario, but what's the best case scenario? What's the best case scenario is that a bunch of people buy this and they enjoy it and I make a lot of money and I impact a lot of people at the same time. And I've got the decision now to not take action because of the possibility of the worst case scenario, or I can take action because of the possibility of the best. Another part of this is something that I've said a lot here on my channel, which is one of my favorite quotes of all time is, nothing is the end of the world until the end of the world. And what I really think is that, okay, maybe this is the worst case scenario, but am I going to die? Am I not going to be able to continue my business after this? And the answer is always going to be no. I minimize the worst case scenario and I make sure I'm really trying to look at and focus on what is the best possible case scenario. And you know what? I usually land somewhere right in between. So another thing that has made me really successful in my business, particularly because my business is built around me, having a personal brand. I'm a content creator, but I'm also an entrepreneur. And a way that I attract a lot of my customers and clients to my business is through my content creation, both here on YouTube, my Instagram, my Facebook. And something that has really made me successful is my consistency. But the habit that I've developed around this is looking at pretty much everything in my life through the lens of my business. I became conscious to this recently when someone said, wow, you have such a great way of like turning any lesson that happens in life into a story that you can use for business. And I realized that I really trained myself to do that. When someone has a conversation with me about something, say for example, my Muay Thai coach the other day was talking about how you need to maintain the fire inside throughout a fight. Even if you get hit, you need to just keep your game face on and maintain that fire, right? And so I really started to think, well, great, thanks, that's great advice for when I'm actually in a Muay Thai fight, but it's also really great advice for business. You know, even when I see something funny online or I have a conversation with hey Wall, let's have a chat. I have a conversation with someone, or, you know, I just have a thought about something, or I don't know, I fall over and I stub my toe. Like literally, I have built myself in a way that anything that I do in my life could become a lesson in business. Now, does that mean everything should? No. When I'm sitting there like eating a bowl of spaghetti, I'm not like, how can I turn this into business? But for the most part, I've trained myself to really look for lessons relevant to my business. That's one of the ways that I never run out of content. You know, I always say your life is the content, but developing the habit to always look for stories and ideas and concepts through your life will help you to create more content, more appealing, more relevant, more contextual, and more exciting content for your business, which will obviously attract people, convert people, more money, more impact, all that fun stuff. And then the final habit that I truly believe has committed to my success, probably if not the most important one, is that I got off the treadmill and I started running on the track. And what I mean by that is, and I'm talking not a circular track, I'm talking like a nature track from like one state to another. A lot of people are just running on the treadmill. And what I mean by that is that you're just doing a lot of work, but really not going anywhere. I made an intention that I don't actually really like to work that much. I mean, I love what I do. I love filming videos and all that stuff, but I don't like to work that hard. I like to find the simplest methods to do things, and I really like to make sure that I am finding shortcuts because I love to do other things as well. I love to do my hobbies. I love to just do nothing. And so what I realized is that if I'm gonna put effort into something, I wanna make sure that it's really moving me forward. I don't wanna just be fiddling around with the color of the buttons on my website or what my font looks like. I want to make sure that if I'm going to spend time today on my business, I'm going to do something impactful and powerful, like filming a video, like creating a program, like selling. You know, everything that I really focus my time and energy on in my business is to move my business forward. So I want you to start thinking about whether or not it's in business, it doesn't matter, but in your life, are you running on the treadmill? Are you constantly busy, but not really going anywhere? You need to get off that treadmill and out onto the track. Move yourself forward by taking those big leaps in business, by doing those big needle moving activities. Of course, sometimes the little tasks need to be done, but I would say that if you're splitting up your week in what you need to be focusing on, most of the time should be dedicated to moving the business forward, especially in your first year. And then after that, you can hire someone to do all the rest of it, right? Make sure you're taking strides, leaps, and bounds forward in your business, because that habit of actually doing things, even though scary, is going to actually help you to achieve success. So those are my 5 top habits. Some of them I said obviously a little more practical, some of them a little more conceptual, but either way, it's all about who you become. Someone who's productive, someone who's self-disciplined, someone who learns, who's self-aware, someone who believes in themselves, someone who takes action, and someone who is always moving forward towards their goals. That is what you need to do to show up and be successful. I don't know why I leant over like I was about to tell you a story. Because that is it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much. I'm sitting on my foot and it's now completely numb if you wanted to know. But if you did want more from me, make sure you do come over and join me on Instagram. And I also do have a free training if one of your goals is to start a business. I have a free 3-part video series in the description below, so make sure you check that out. I would totally love for you to sign up and enjoy my simple business strategy. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.